What's going on YouTube? This is yours truly, Dre the Plug, reporting live with some more technical heat. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button below. Make sure y'all hit that bell below so y'all can stay notified every single time I drop new technical heat. But let's get into it, man. Let's jump right back into these interviews. I just finished a whole bunch of sponsorship product videos, so definitely go check all of those out. Some of them I never even seen in person, so I thought it was really dope. And then on top of that, also did a couple of electronic projects, so definitely go check out those previous videos I did. But now I'm about to jump right back into my interview videos where I interview different people all across the country. Let's get into it. Roll the clip.
What's good? It's Jordan Everett. I'm a proud graduate of Prairie View A&M University, in which I obtained my bachelor's in business administration with a concentration in marketing and supply chain. And I'm a current global procurement senior analyst at Pepsico under the sustainability and innovation space. But before that, I was a value chain engineer at General Motors, as well as a buyer for electronic components.
Jordan, so why did you choose this field? And on top of that, how did you maneuver yourself through tech within business?
Man, so kind of long-winded, but I actually wanted to go into the advertising and sales space coming out of college. So luckily for me, I ended up getting an internship opportunity after my junior year, in which I actually worked at KJLH, which is based back with the family in Inglewood, California. And needless to say, man, I mean, I really didn't like it. You know, overall, I did cold calling, which is more so soliciting business from customers, and also working on the advertising space. So I worked on the social media page, more so on the analytics side, and also worked on the street team. But I gotta be honest, man, it really wasn't my thing. I think the only pro that I received from that internship was more so the knowledge to work Excel, but also work to give back to community, which was a Taste of Inglewood event. So that was actually pretty dope. But needless to say, right after that, man, I ended up going back to PV that semester, you know, that fall semester. And then from then on, I spoke with my dean, like legit, probably a couple weeks before class started, told him, look, man, I mean, I'm really not feeling this marketing thing. What do you suggest? And then he ended up recommending a supply chain to me. And so right after that, man, I spoke with my mentor, chopped it up with him. He introduced me to a few cats. And yeah, man, I was intrigued by everybody that I spoke with, whether it was procurement, containerization, supply chain, having to deal with the manufacturing, or more so dealing with, you know, type of command center based, you know, positions. Man, but, you know, overall, I love the conversations, picked up that concentration, and needless to say, man, I was the first graduate at Prairie View with that concentration. So yeah, man, how I actually got into that tech space though. So I actually was in the rotational program at General Motors, and it was actually pretty dope situation. So right after, you know, my first position, I was a buyer. I actually jumped into the space within operations, in which I was command center coordinator, pretty much leading like high-risk situations. And then I jumped to containerization. And then right after that, man, you know, luckily I ended up scoring a one-on-one with the director for this value chain engineering space. And then also the manager, man, you know, me and him clicked right away, and he said, hey, I have an opening. And then, yeah, a few months later, here I am. So that tech space, definitely, tech position actually opened up my eyes, man. I mean, you really don't understand how much is actually into just one component in the supply, like in the vehicle, you know, like that one semiconductor chip could have billions of parts, it feels like. And so, yeah, it definitely was a great experience, man, and I'm glad for it. Man, it's crazy to think about it, because I've only been working, I would say, since 2017, if you count my first internship, but I've had like a ton of positions since then. So needless to say, I started off at KJLH, I was a marketing intern. From then on, I jumped to General Motors, in which I was an inbound intern, actually working on inbound and outbound activity, but also working on the IT space, actually for the trial application, which was actually the one-stop shop for both inbound and outbound activity. So that was actually pretty cool to be a part of, you know, especially being only a senior in college. But from then on, I jumped to my full-time opportunity at General Motors, in which I was actually a buyer for controls and sensors. There I led, you know, a couple sourcings, a couple tier 2 issues, just to pretty much get my feet wet, really. From then on, I jumped to Command Center, in which I was the lead coordinator for all of North America, led some South America issues, pretty much taking care of high-risk situations between the plants and the suppliers. And so, yeah, man, it was pretty cool to be a part of. It was right in the midst of the initial UAW strike for that company, and also for COVID. So yeah, can you just imagine handling high risk situations in March of 2020? So yeah, I had a couple nights that I was up at like 10 or 11 on calls, but yeah, that's a whole nother story. From then on, I jumped to containerization. From there on, I pretty much helped out with rebuy. I was an analyst, pretty much taking care of anything that has to do with North America, just replenishing the logistics stream. And I was also a project manager for the initiative, pretty much looking for any cost opportunity there for, you know, expendable, returnable, dunnage, pretty much the whole nine that has to do with packaging, going from the supplier to the plant, pretty much looking for any type of cost opportunity, even changing, you know, milk run routes to full-size truckloads. And I know I'm getting a little bit too technical, but yeah, that's pretty much what I did on a day-to-day basis within that space. And from there on, I ended up jumping to value chain engineer, in which I actually worked on electronic components as well as customer care after sales. And that probably was the best position I had at GM. You know, it gave me the opportunity to get a little bit dirty, you know, and go into the lab, figure out how much the true cost analysis was for components, man, legit break down electronic component parts, figure out how much the Zener diode was, how much the resistors were, how much, you know, any material, the manufacturing process, how much, you know, we believe that they actually, you know, cost. And I mean, I can go into detail about it, but needless to say, man, I worked on a ton of projects within that space, and I learned so much just within, you know, the components themselves, but more so how the car is ultimately made. And so, yeah, bouncing off to that, I actually was a buyer for electronic components. There I dealt with switches as well as chassis electronic components. But that overall was a great opportunity for me. You know, also led countless number of sourcings, worked with design release engineers, worked with quality, helped out with a few business transfers. So it was a pretty good opportunity for me to actually step up and be a lead, you know, and needless to say, electronic components, dealing in this day and age right now, from 2020 to what, now 2022, semiconductors are literally the main topic of discussion, and they're probably going to be the main topic of discussion for years to come. So yeah, and now I'm currently at Pepsico. I'm a global procurement senior analyst, pretty much dealing with sustainability and innovation. It's a lot of projects, it's a lot of stuff going on, you know, and I'm glad to actually, you know, be a part of it, you know, bouncing from the automotive industry now to the consumer good industry. Has its battles, but needless to say, man, I mean, we're eating over here, you know?
All right, so what do you feel is the biggest benefit in this field?
Man, it's kind of a cliche answer, but I feel like there's two major benefits to being in this field of procurement. So one is the camaraderie. I mean, to be honest, the networking is insane because, bro, like no lie, man, when it comes to these projects, you're literally working with everybody. You're working with design release engineers, you're working with quality assurance, you're working with pretty much anybody from the plants to logistics to the tier 1 suppliers, tier 2 to maybe even tier 3. And so it is so dope to like actually look back and really just think of how many people you interacted with, how many people you worked with, and how many people you still keep in contact with, man. I mean, it's a few suppliers that we still chop it up to this day. And it's like, man, like, you know, wish each other Merry Christmas, you know, I wish the sons, you know, happy birthday, you know, man, it's definitely all love, man. And another aspect I would say within procurement is the fact that you run point. Like, when you're actually handling these sourcings, when you're actually handling these negotiations, it feels like you make the shots here, man. Like whenever you have a competitive bid, when it's 3 or 4 suppliers in this pool, you get to pick the top one. You get to pick the one that you feel is the best bet for the company. So it feels great to have that power in your hands. And also, man, I mean, it's a bonus one, but I kind of like to argue on the professional scale, man. So it's pretty dope to negotiate, you know, with actual, you know, like I like to debate. I'm gonna just say it like that, man. And I mean, it has its rewards whenever you actually get to actually step into a conference room and actually battle it out with a supplier to actually, you know, get the cost to go down, or pretty much, you know, just handle business, man. Like it's definitely dope.
All right, Jordan, so what's something that you did not expect jumping into this field?
So something that I didn't expect when jumping into this major, man, I'm gonna actually say the flexibility, man. It's pretty crazy, like how mobile you can be when working this space. You know, you kind of make your own schedule. And honestly, I felt like this, you know, within the automotive industry, but also, you know, now within my current industry. Like, it's like, you know, I wouldn't say you call your own shots, but, you know, you make your own timing. Everything is somewhat project-based in procurement. So I would say that's something that I didn't expect. You know, it's not a regular 9-to-5 job. And I'm not saying, of course, you're going to work like 4 hours. No, you're going to work, you know, the normal time, you know, like most corporate jobs. But, you know, I will say, you know, I can set up, you know, quick supplier calls, 9, 10 o'clock, you know. But then again, you know, if you have a supplier in China, or you have a supplier, you know, overseas or even South America, you might be hopping on these calls 7, maybe even 10 o'clock at night, or even early in the morning. But I would say it's flexible, and it definitely has its rewards.
All right, so jumping into your side hustle, so how did you get into crypto? How did you get into stocks?
Man, so I actually got into this side hustle, or really this stock and crypto world, right whenever COVID hit. So needless to say, man, I mean, we all had a lot of time on our hands, to be honest with you. So after talking with a couple of my big homies, you know, I started looking into it. I got to be real with you, man. First couple of months, man, everything was red. Everything was red. Like, I lost so much money. You know, try to, you know, just do like swing trades, try to do options, man. And yeah, it definitely defeated me. But needless to say, man, I mean, just after, you know, staying consistent with it, you know, constantly reading up on, you know, the market, constantly just observing people's moves, I started getting more and more drawn into it, starting to see a lot more wins. And so, yeah, that's pretty much how I got into it, man. I mean, of course, now is the perfect time for anybody to actually start. I wouldn't say the market is at a discount, but I mean, it's peak to actually get in, man. So yeah, man, I'm actually, you know, glad I made this move back in March of 2020. But needless to say, man, I'm still a beginner. I'm still learning. I'm not making that barber money that you touching on, Brady. But yeah, I'm gonna get there one day, you know.
All right, Jordan. So knowing what you know now, looking back on your career, what's some advice that you would tell your younger self?
Man, something I would tell my younger self, man, really, man, just keep going. You know, you can't make no real decision based on emotion. You know, you got to be consistent with it, man. I mean, keep it a buck, you know, like, you survived 100% of your bad days, you know, so just keep going, bro. Like, that's one thing I would just tell my younger self. And really, man, I mean, continue to be flexible. Like, I adapted, you know, industries during internships. Think about how many people that don't like their career now when they're in their mid-20s, you know, late 30s, you know, be able to adapt, you know, make that jump, you know. And I mean, experience life, man. I mean, I'm blessed with the opportunity to, you know, go to school in Houston, you know, go to Detroit, work out there, and now live in Dallas. You know, like, who would have thought, you know, just a kid that grew up, you know, on the west side of town, you feel me, is doing all of this stuff, you feel me? So definitely be flexible, you know, be able to take them jumps, be able to say, you know, bye-bye to mom just for now, you feel me? And really experience life while you can, you know?
So I know that you're also into the sneaker game. So what's also, at the moment, your top 3 shoes that you will say in the game? I just did an interview not too long ago with Jan. Let me know what your top 3 is.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go first things first, you know, with the Beijing 6s. You know, I always wanted those as a kid. You know, the homie had on there when he was like teens, you feel me? But man, hey, I saw that you did, you know, the interview with Jan. Hey man, Jan always been a hard sneakerhead. He was one of the ones at PV. Just know I'm catching up to the boy, you feel me? As far as like my top 3 that I have on me right now, shoot, Yeezy 350s, you feel me? Yeezy 450s, the black ones, man, I love to work out in those. And I'm gonna have to say the Travis Scott ones. Whenever I was back home with the fam for Christmas, I wore them shits out, bruh. But man, like those are definitely my top. I would say runner up though, the Kobe 5s. I could work out in those, I could hoop in those. I can go to the grocery store in those. tough, man, tough.
All right, Jordan, so what's your contact information for those out there that may be in business, maybe in another industry, and when you know, maneuver their way into tech? You could just give them some advice. What's your contact information so they can reach you?
Man, so for me, man, I'm an open book, man. I mean, you can hit me up on IG, Twitter, you know, at jkkexciii. Yeah, it's Roman numerals, but to be honest, man, it's my initials as well as, you know, the street that the fam stay on. So yeah, man, just hit me up, you feel me? Also, you know, you could also add my fitness page, JAYEKENNY, JKitty. You know, hit me up on there. Like I said, I'm an open book. I'm there to help you out, you feel me, if you have any questions. But also, man, I mean, I'm forever the homie, you feel me?
And that concludes this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. It really do help my channel when it comes down to the YouTube algorithm. If you guys have any questions regarding anything, just hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on the gram at DreThePlug123. And then also go check out my other YouTube channel. This is actually my second channel. My first one was called Andre ClassicCuts. I basically go in and give tutorials about all types of different haircuts. I actually show people how to do different type of things with the clippers that has never been done. And I pretty much go into detail as to why certain things happen. So definitely go check out that channel. Besides that, be on the lookout for my next content that's dropping. Be on the lookout for it because it's coming real soon. And I'm out.